There's just nothing quite like it. Not no level like it, not no game, not no art piece, no thing. Litfuse is a level that, for a decade now, has existed in its own universe, refusing to be surpassed, replicated, or even competently imitated, and I think the reason it's still hailed as a revolution for the game is that it simply is more cognizant of how GD functions as a medium than any other level in history. I would say it was likely the first time that an artist made a conscious effort to really respect and understand GD as an art form of its own, not simply a device to display audiovisual or narrative works within a certain frame, an art form in itself, with its own physical and metaphysical characteristics to work with. Even in 2025, an age of the game where the idea that levels are art is no longer controversial, players are still falling into this trap. You can see it in the recent discussion surrounding Lover's Sadness, the idea that the inclusion of an aspect of more traditional art, in this case a coherent narrative, proves that levels can be art, as though Lover's Sadness wouldn't be art without the, quote, artistic meaning behind it. It feels like a microcosm of the wider idea that video games are art, but only if they have a really epic and emotional story. Maybe you've seen a social media post from Dixerto or some other 10 trillion follower account that triumphantly proclaims video games are art over a screenshot of like The Last of Us or Celeste or Firewatch. These games are of course also art, but no more so than Need for Speed or Hitman. Narrative need not apply here. Expressions of the human spirit and creativity take many different forms, including ones that are more often thought of as mechanics. Input chains, player movements, music sync, deaths, cooldowns, these too are artful. But I hadn't really considered that possibility in 2015, it just wasn't something I was really thinking about as a kid. But even if I couldn't quite tell anyone why, there was always something so alluring about Litfuse, so captivating. Tension and release, hypnosis and catharsis, claustrophobia and expanse have been somewhat explored in GD since then, but not like Litfuse. Not as proficiently, and not all in the same package. It's brilliant, and it can only be understood by playing, not just playing, but dying, reaching the same spots over and over until you're familiar with every little speck, every little drop on the canvas, the speed at which these hanging shurikens spin, the way the scan lines fade into each other, the hue cycling, the ship's weightlessness, the hand pain. For once, I pity the players more skilled than myself, because you can't possibly understand Litfuse if you beat it before the attempt count reached 4 digits. If these things weren't beaten into you hour by Litfuse, you didn't get it. The level-player relationship is almost always symbiotic. The level provides a landscape and context to traverse, and the player shows off a performance that allows the experience to progress naturally. Litfuse does not operate on this premise. It is exploitative. It takes everything. It takes away your sensation. Dying does not restart the level, it continues it. The trance it casts upon the player can be broken only during the extended title card, and every attempt you opt into refocusing on these low-visibility jumps, you agree to the terms and conditions for another round. It's a disturbingly enthralling scheme. The player's attention is always guided, or more like forced, to the right place. The hypnosis session is deeply intimate. It's not purely something forced upon the player. You're part of it too, as you repetitively press your mouse or arrow key to the right rhythm. Everything melts into itself in the best way. It lasts an eternity, as Cocola's wailing drones on and on. You lose sensation. You lose feeling. Only the most intrinsic game-playing instincts are left intact. And then, I find it most apt to describe it as an awakening in relation to the dormancy of the first two-thirds, a burst of inspiration, a new life. After minutes and hours as a spectator in your own body, suddenly you're cast into the most visceral, most intuitive, yet awe-inspiring setting the game has ever seen. No level has made me feel more alive, and I don't think I'm alone in that. Litfuse isn't just fantastic, it's one of the more culturally significant levels of GD's history. So many artists and levels cite it and Kermal as a point of inspiration. Even more importantly, I think it broadened the scope of what people think levels can do, and what they can be, and what they are good at capturing and expressing. I don't think it's an exaggeration at all to describe it as a one-level paradigm shift. It was for me, at least. The Lit Fuse sessions back in the day were not only some of the most unbelievably gratifying experiences I've ever had, but a formative moment in my understanding of art. I probably wouldn't be expressing my opinions and experiences with art pieces on this channel without it. It lit the fuse, so to speak, and set me on the course I follow today, thinking about the characteristics that make up levels, games, art pieces. It's still the peak of Kermal's brilliant career. If you haven't played it, you should, because I haven't really described it at all. No one can with words. Happy anniversary, Kermal. Happy 10th Lit Fuse. My appreciation for Still Life, Cave World, Life Spirits, Counter-Strike, Hollow Knight, Surf, a countless number of my favorite pieces is downstream of my love for you.